Yes, mate.
You know what I mean?
Sorry about that. Yeah, go for it. What is it?
So
I
what do
want
you
to
want
learn.
to... Right, we'll talk about pastern training to start with, okay?
Okay.
It's a massive thing. You breed bigger, you've
Yeah.
got massive paws, massive thick bone density. You're going to get issues with these pasterns. There's two
Okay.
types of bad pasterns, okay? There's one because you've got a big dog, but there's three types, actually. There's three types of bad pasterns.
Right.
One, because you've done it by design. No one
Yep.
can help you with that. If you want to breed two massively wide barrel-chested dogs together, like we see in the micros, where they're like that, you're going to get those pasterns. You can't stop that. That's just in the dog. So be careful what you're doing, okay?
Okay.
Going on further, you've got a big dog. See Game, I put a video up yesterday, big floppy paws on the ground, bad pasterns. Spectre never had it. Game was a lot bit heavier. He's a big thick dog, big bones. He's going to have issues with his pasterns. So one, we make sure the diet's correct. You know, you've got glucosamine, chondroitin in the diet, which is duck feet, chicken feet. If they're on a dry diet, just feed them some supplements that you can buy called U-Move is one. The other one you can buy is Glide from America, great tablets. And there's like all sorts of things in there that reduce inflammation, like green tea and things like that. So that's that. But that's not enough, is it? That's just going to assist with it. So your dog will go through the rapid growth stage. This is generally between 4 and 8 months. Your dog is going to double its body weight. Sometimes they triple the body weight. You can go from 20 kg to 60 kg in a few months. And if you don't get it right by the time that body's fused, you're never going to get those pasterns right because they'll just start to fuse like that. So what you do is, I say to everyone this, so we don't over-exercise, we don't under-exercise. It's the point is when we go out on that exercise, it's utilised in its best way. So at 4 months, it's 20 minutes, as we know. 5 months, 25. 6 months, 30. So it's the 5 minutes per month age rule. So these are the tactics that I use that I developed myself. I hope it works. But I've had a lot of people come to me and help me and ask me over the years. And I've shown them what I did to get tight feet, and it's worked for them too. Don't shoot me if it doesn't work. I'm just trying for you guys. I really am. I'm thinking of ways to make it better because I see a lot of top of the range studs in the world with a lot of really bad feet. And because of those bad feet, they're just not getting stud out when it's not their fault. If the dog had tight feet, it would. So you can't. It's not going to breed that. That's up to you to change that. So these are the tactics I use. Number one, I go on the field. Now, I always say fields are better than hard surfaces. Like I said last week, a soft surface, it doesn't matter if it's thick grass. If you've got thick grass, as you push down into the mud, it's got a way of pushing back up against you. You've got resistance pushing, so the paws are straight. It's always moving around, working the whole area of the carpals, the foot, the muscles, everything that goes with it. So then going on from that, if it's a muddy surface, it's the same. It's pushing in, it's pushing out. If it's on sand, it's the same. It's working the whole area. But that alone isn't good enough. So what I would generally do is get a treat. Sometimes it's a smelly, hot, tasty treat or just something they know is in your hand. And I'll walk up and down with them on the lead, teach them some obedience anyway. But I feed them every now and then a little bit of treat. Now they're walking at the side of me. It's great for obedience, but they're leaning up because they want this treat. And they're walking on their tiptoes now, and it's training the pasterns. Now, when you say raise the food bowl, I know we mentioned that last week, it's not good for GDV, it's bloats, it can cause gases and obstructions in the side of the intestines. But when we look at just doing that on the tiptoes, if you went to the gym and you were on a calf raise machine and just stood up doing nothing with the weight, you're never going to work your calves, are you? You might injure them. But when you go up and down, up and down, up and down, you're working the calf. When we go up and down, up and down, down, walking with the dog, you're working the pastern. So now we're working those pasterns and working this straight format up and down. If the dog works at an angle, moving back and forth too much, it can overwork the side of the pasterns, which will push them to one side a little bit. We get bowed legs for certain reasons like that. So we try and walk in straight planes of movement. That's one technique. So now, not only have you built the pasterns, you now work on obedience, recall, it's the next year, it's behaving, it's sit, stay, pull, come on, let's go, next one, working by sides, you're looking up. Because it's looking up and it's walking, looking up, it's working on its core, its posture, everything about the dog is getting great, it's working on its movement, it's working on its gait. There's lots going on there, okay? The next thing I would do is you can play fetch. Now, it sounds crazy, why would fetch help the pasterns? What
Sure.
I do is this. It's a multi-thing to do. I get a lead, a short lead. So it's a short rope. I play it in games, mouth, tug of war.
Yeah,
Pushing
yeah.
backwards and then pulling backwards and pushing forwards and all that. That's working the pastings again because you're continually pushing the legs down. You're pushing the
Okay.
triceps down. You're fusing the upper body. He's pulling back. He's training his neck. He's getting his structure right. He's getting his feet right. Everything's working in sync. Then I'll pull it out of his mouth and I'll throw it. Don't not let him flip to change to get it. Let him face the same direction like we said. Now let him grab it. Then he knows he wants it. It's a prize. It's an award. He's got it. I chase him now.
Yep.
I'm chasing him around the field of the garden now. Let me get it. What have they got to do? It's a long rope. They've got to hold it up in the air with their head. And they run off. They're proud of it. Again, feet straight as hell. Arms
Okay.
out. Working on the pastings as tight as they can when they run with it. So to get away from you. You get it off when you play tug of war. You repeat the process. 5 minutes a day, guys. That's it. That's all
So
you're doing.
what is tight feet?
What's that?
When you refer to tight feet, is it
Tight or
feet,
tight?
tight feet? So
Tight.
is it the feet looking straight, or you're not
Tight
referring
feet
to
are
easily
just tight
rested?
feet.
No?
They're just straight. They're up. They're tight. They're almost on their tiptoes. So I put
Okay.
on my story the other day. Tight feet, tight feet. People said to me in the past, "Look at your dogs. You got easty, westy feet." I said, "No, they haven't. There's a picture of them straight feet."
Yeah.
I don't take pictures of my dogs when we first come out the house. They are too excited. They want to go play. They're
Yeah,
going crazy. They want to go to the field and run around. So generally, when you see me take a photo of my dogs, we've been out for 2 hours and they're tired. Think about it. If you've just been for a run now for a mile or 2 miles or whatever tires you,
Of course.
you'll bend your knees and point your feet outwards a little bit, and you'll
Yeah.
be tired. Your feet won't be pointing straight. It's a comfy position. You're on the heel now, not on your tiptoes. You're kind of bending your knees, and you're kind of like, right. Someone take a picture of you, you don't look great. Someone takes a picture of you first. When they come out, stood to attention, back straight, head up, chest out, feet perfectly straight. That's when you've got your original feet. So if you can't ever get your dog to do that, and your dog's feet are naturally pointed that way, they're going to stay that way because they fuse that way. But sometimes tired feet just looks that way because they are tired. So I took pictures of Ghost and G out the house, took up the story on their tiptoes, looking straight, perfect. And I put all 4 pictures of them when they are shattered after they've just done 8 miles and they look like they're everywhere. And you're like, the dog's just tired. That's all it is. Don't worry about it too much. You know, it's not a massive thing, okay? But if you, as long as you try your best and you do these bits when they're young, and I say to everyone this, go out and work them. Forget about who's going to use your stud when he's 4 months old. Forget about who you're going to put your bitch to. You know, that you shouldn't even be thinking about stud selection for a female until she's at least 12 months old. You know, I don't think the ABKC should be saying that 12 months is a good guideline. It's really not. Yeah, maybe in some rare occasions.
Yeah, because they're still quite young, isn't it? I mean,
very young.
Yeah.
The babies, they want to play a lot.
You can tell they're still pups as well, the way they act.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
so
There's many factors, but so yeah, be careful. Work your dogs. Think about the structure. Think about the diet when they're young. Don't rush in with the diet too fast. Edge it in slowly. Feed little bits extra as you go along.
okay.
Don't overwhelm them with too much food. Don't feed extra because you think it's better. Or what? Feed more bone and calcium and make his bones thicker. No, it won't. It will ruin his joints. 20% is that's the limit. That's the floor limit. You can't go any ceiling or whatever you want to call it. That's the peak of what you want to be feeding. 20% bone in the diet. I say the bully's 15% is cool. That's where you want to be. So yeah, when you're going out until the age of, when you get to say fusion, when the dog's 10 months, 12 months old, you've done all the work. Yeah. The feet are done then. Your dog's looking better. And then because the feet are done, you can start pushing them a little bit of agility and working them in the fields. And then you'll see them extra gains. Like I said to the people think sometimes to me and they go, do you know what? I don't want to do all that. I just want to own a bully. And I said, yeah, it's fine. But when it comes to studying out, or when it comes to, you know, breeding your female, she might not have the edge over her sister in the litter, and you might not get what you want. You might not sell your dogs. Nobody wants dogs that are 5 months old running around the house that you haven't sold. You know, it's ideal just to push yourself a little bit more and get it out there. And again, you know, these photographers are doing amazing jobs, but photography can only take you so far. People are going to come and see your dogs. They want to see them move. They want to see a good picture. They want to see the bit about what you are, the person that they're buying the dog off, and the life that you lead, and what, you know, what you're about, your kennel's ethos, so to speak.
Yeah. When do females stop growing?
Female, it depends, you know. It's like a human being, isn't it? You know, a
Yeah.
human will grow in height to say 15, 16, 17 years old. Females are a little bit younger. And then you look at total bone ossification, which would be 21 to 5 years of age.
Okay.
But, you know, you'll still get wider hips as you're hitting your 30s and 40s, a little bit more bone density, and things do carry on growing. So a dog will go in height until about 10 to 12 months typically, unless it's a huge Great Dane or something.
Right.
You'll get the head split and a bit of a wider chest as you get to 18 months to 2 years.
Okay.
And then to 3 years. 3 years is your dog's middle age. That's when they look absolutely the pinnacle, the best they're ever going to be in their life, which is about 3 years old.
Okay, that's good to know then. So, yeah, so when I look at my boy now, 12 months, you think, okay, cool. His height might have stopped growing, but then obviously he will start filling out now, isn't it?
They start filling out, yeah, of course he will.
Okay, brilliant, brilliant. What else topics are you want to touch on today as
Right,
well?
I was just going to mention why did I breed Spectre to Paddy? A lot have asked me a lot of things, and I just don't do things to the show of it. I didn't just use Paddy because he's from Bossy Kennels. I didn't just put the two together for popular demand. Obviously, if I'd bred Spectre to a chocolate try or a lilac try, I'd have more lilacs than chocolates. That's not the reason. You still get lilacs in the litter, but that's not the reason I did it. So at the moment, I've decided to line breed, okay? And I've decided to devise my own line breeding plan that's never been used before.
Okay.
I don't want anyone to copy it. I just want you to think about where I'm coming from in my place. So we bred Ghost and G together.
Right.
Two dogs have outcrossed paired. You will not see the same two dogs in Ghost or G's pairs together. In G's line bred, yeah, you'll see Wonka, not Wonka, you'll see King a couple of times towards the back end. Right. You see the rest are outcross. But it's a good place to start. It's two dogs. Ghost is a 5-gen outcross. You won't see the same dog twice in Ghost ped. You only see it once or twice, once in G's ped. So it's a great place to open your gene pool to start. Now, Ghost and G are a little bit different. She's a bit taller than the different lines. We've bred them together. I think if you notice on big litters, you might get a varied amount of dogs. Now, some of them will be bigger than others. And if you want to start line breeding, you can pick the two that you like. So what I did, I picked Game's equivalent. Game's equivalent of Spectra. They are very similar. They're similar heights. There's only an inch between them. There's only about 20, 30 pounds in body weight. Spectra's about 120 plus. Game's 160 plus. They're very fit dogs. If you look down the line, you'd get a dog like, say, Ace was in the litter, shorter and thicker, to say Maya, who's his equivalent. You could align with them two for that look. They're too short for me. It was a bit of a scattered litter as such. You want a bit taller. And you see other brothers and sisters in the litter that complement each other. When you get to a certain age, 8 weeks, you can kind of guarantee and see the height difference in these dogs and which ones are going to shoot up. I like tall dogs. So Game and Spectra are the two that I chose to line breed from this litter. Where do we go from here? Okay, what are we going to do? We're going to open the gene pool up even wider because we do not want to reduce the coefficient and start, increase it and start ruining the line. So we looked at many breedings and we looked at many potential studs for Spectra. Paddy Power is a 5-gen outcross. Himself, he's got no times twos in his own ped. And I liked the fact I kind of get the flow of the ped and I see who takes what from who. So Paddy's dad is Afterlife, and his mum is Statue of Liberty, and she goes to a dog called Renegade and looks at these old school lines, and they're not bossy, just old school, big, structured, fucking massive dogs. While the rest of the bossy peds were a little bit shorter than Paddy, and they weren't really there. So he took a lot from that line, healthy genes from all of them, quality dogs, good structure. So that was a good place to start to breed to Spectra to outcross it. Then Game will be selectively bred to outcross dogs. Like we looked at Coco from Zuma. Again, 5-gen outcross dogs, bringing all fresh blood again, open the gene pool. Why am I doing it? Because I'm going to breed Game's offspring to Spectra's offspring. I'm going to breed cousins to bring it in. You'll see a bit of times twos in there, but they'll be from absolutely wide pools. I couldn't have put them in together if Ghost already had times 3s in his pairs and times 4s. I couldn't have already done it that way. So what we've done is we've selected height, style, type, muscularity, and look. Game is bred to Coco, who's 24 at the withers, similar bloodlines, big, tall, structured dog. Paddy's the same equivalent to Game, which Spectra's equivalent in the litter. And that's the best way you can start, in my opinion, to start breeding consistency to style and height. I don't want to be able to sell someone a dog that doesn't fit what I already own.
Okay.
So it's a lot going on there, and it just had a bit of a headache, but it's where I see myself as doing it. I don't want to be a guy that just breeds for public demand or public demand. It's like, does everyone like him? I'll breed them to her. Let's hope for a good result. I want to be able to say to you, hopefully, right, I can kind of not guarantee it right now, but let's just say in the future, I can guarantee some results, you know. So there's a little bit of why I chose him. It wasn't because he was from Bossy. It wasn't because he's colourful dog, or he wasn't because he's a big dog. There was so much behind closed doors. I've studied about 15 studs for her, and he ticks all the boxes. And I've met him, and he can move well. He's great. He's physically strong, and he's producing nice dogs too. So there's more to it, a lot deeper in it. You've got to see yourself in two ways in this game. You can come into the game and breed any or two dogs together and make some money. Or you can say to yourself, I want to be a guy that stays around for a long time in the breed, and someone to hopefully one day say, I want to buy from Sparta Bloodline, because it is a good line and it took a long time doing it. I'm at the ground floor right now, guys, but I'm trying. You know
what else? When's your next litter coming? You should be getting a litter soon, isn't it?
G-Unit drops in 10 days, yeah?
Yeah. It's going to be a big one.
You repeated it. I had no choice but to repeat it.
Yeah.
I was doing a different approach.
Okay.
The original approach was a different one altogether. So the idea was I needed a bigger G unit. So I bred G unit to Nelson, a half brother, to make a bigger G, which we made bigger males, but there was no females. And then that bigger female would go to Ghost to make a bigger game in Spectra and consistency that way, to increase the line and start doing what I'm doing now.
Okay.
Big work. I bred it to Boris. Big dog, 24, 25 with the withers, 140 pounds, consistent bloods behind him.
I like Boris.
To do the same thing again. And at the same time, I would have made myself a big lilac try stud.
Yeah, I like Boris.
Then start putting to Ghost offspring and the line breed that way instead. There are many ways to line breed. It comes in so many forms. But the way you introduce it into your breedings, it kind of really pushes your future.
Okay.
And you see a lot of line bred dogs. We see ITK bloodline, where the males were very tall and the males and females are very short. I want to get it banged out across the whole line. I don't want there to be any 21 females. I don't want to be any 22 males. I want them all to be taller, physical structured. I want them all to be EDHD perfect and bot clear. That dogs that last for life. So if this bully game runs out in 5 years, if I ever bump into you in the street and you bought a dog off me in 10 years, you can say, he's still here.
Yeah.
Come meet him, mate. He's screaming around fields. I've bred him loads of times. He's beautiful. Thank you so much for that dog. I don't want to meet someone in 5 years' time and say, thank you for that dog you sold me. It's cost me a fortune to repair and get the bad and the health wasn't good. I can't believe I spent 3 years' wages saving up to buy a dog off you after all that, and then it happened like that. I don't want that. You know, I need to be right. I'm at a point now in my program, going back to old school hereditary values. If the dog in a litter I feel is a runt, if I feel it hasn't got the substance, it's getting pet owned and no papers, and it'll go for free. It's getting that like that now, like it used to be. It's going to have to stop being like that.
Okay, and when you give them out for free, will you be sort of spaying them and stuff like that? So they can't.
No, I can't. You can't spay a dog. You can't spay a dog. The dog's got to stay until 18 months of age for hormones, otherwise you'll get the spacia.
Sure. Okay.
The hormones assist in the calcium intake and things like that. So they can breed it, but they'll get no fucking papers. So, but you know, when you give a free dog away with no papers, you get a lot of interest, and you'll find the right home for these people. These dogs, sorry, for these for the people.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So yeah, you've got to go back a little bit.
How do you pick? How do you pick what your first pick will be? Going just by.
Do you know, right? This is my. If you pick a first pick in your own letters, I'll tell you how to do it. Well, how I do it. Sorry, bit rude. If you're picking a dog out of someone else's litter, it's tricky, and you'd have to ask them a million questions that they might not want to tell you, and you might really pester the shit out of them. Some of these kennels don't want to tell you the first pick that you bought. You know the old one in the pictures where they hold up an inch closer to make it look twice the size, and go, which one do you want, mate? And they're like, just an inch closer, but it looks literally 20% bigger, and you go, ooh, that one. Oh, I think this one's going to be great. No, Ask for multiple videos, ask for weight, measurements, height, everything. You can get on that dog. Does size matter? It depends what you're looking for. The big dog size matters, obviously, doesn't it?
Sure.
But when I look at my own litters, and they're born from birth, so this is how you do it. This is how I do it. They're all born. I record everyone's body weight.
Yeah.
Write it all down. The first 3 to 4 weeks while they're feeding on mum, if they're all feeding at the right times and they're getting the right amount of milk, you see what we call a lot of natural progression. But you have to bear in mind something else. Eggs release over a period of 7 days. Okay? Some dogs in your litters in the mum's womb might be a lot younger than the other ones because the eggs are fertilized a few days in between. Okay?
Okay.
So what we look at is progression. Now, the first 24 hours of a dog's life, you're feeding colostrum, sometimes 48, but generally 24. Colostrum is the vital antibodies they need to take them up to late-weaning vaccine to stop them from all the bacteria and things in the air. In the air. But after 24 hours, they're taking their mum's milk and they start to make gains. Yeah. I make sure everyone gets enough milk. Now, if mum looks like she's not feeding enough milk, you have to jump in with a few bottles, but you'll only know that by the weight gains. If they're making 10% gains a day, if your dog's going to double its body weight in 7 days, you're laughing. You're ahead of the game. You're doing great. But every day, what are we doing? We're monitoring these weights. You monitor weights for 2 reasons: progression and fading. If the dog's progressing, you're in a happy place. If they're fading, if they're not gaining weight or they're losing weight, you need to intervene fast. And you start feeding on bottles and getting that weight on them and find out what the problem is. Mum might have mastitis. She might need many problems that she could have herpes. They might be fading. It's many things. So what I do personally is I monitor the weights. Now, they're getting bigger and bigger. Some dogs will race off and just go woof, flying off in their own direction. Yeah. And you've got to make sure, what is he gaining though? Is it just fat? Is it extra skin? Or is he actually lean? Is he muscular? Is he really putting his genetics in? Is he different? Because there's a mixed breed. Sometimes they'll take more of a mum, sometimes they'll take more of a dad, sometimes they may take more of the grandparents who dad took off them. You don't know where you're going, so you need to say what you want on the litter. And, you know, I hate to say it, but mainly in the American Bully, because the American Bully is a big, strong, featured dog with big bones. That's what we look for. So they've now increased their weights. You've monitored the ones that are flying ahead. You now feed raw feed. This is sometimes where the ones that are behind can catch up. But again, even though they're packing on the weight, are they packing on the skin, or are they packing on the fat? You need to look at what they're doing. Now, when you get to 6 weeks, they're all running round. You've got to raise your dogs on soft bedding. And I personally don't believe in the method where people need to sleep. It sounds awful. I don't sleep for 3 weeks. I'm like a wild man after 3 weeks. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I'm a bit lost the plot for 3 weeks because I've been watching pops 24 hours a day. I don't go anywhere. My wife looks after them when I take the dogs out. I come back and I'm just stare at these pups. I want the best for you as I do for myself. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, I'm like in competition with myself in a way. So, a lot of people will get the males in one box, the females in another box. They'll feed on mum, put them under the light and leave them there so the next feed time in 2 hours time and do that. Are those dogs ever doing anything but sleeping and eating? No. So I like them. After a few days, I get a little area where they go underneath the light, and if you want the food, you start to crawl across the mum. Okay? If they're on mum, you don't need the light. Mum don't want the light, it's too hot. If they're feeding on there, the body temperature's fine. When they're not under mum, they need to be under for the first few weeks. For a week, they need to be under 35-degree light, then down to 30 after 2 weeks, and so on. But I like them to crawl across. I like them to fight for the milk. I like them to get the strength up, okay? People say to me that see my dogs 10 days old, wow, they are active, they're running around, they're fast, they're strong. I go, yep, this is what we've been doing, okay? If they're not, mum's not giving enough milk and not gaining, I'm intervening after they've fed with mum. Her milk's better than my milk, I believe. Yeah. Bottle feed them on the arm, flat down, head up, straight, none of this holding, cradling, on your arm, looking at them, head up, let them suck and let them pull away. Pull the bottle away as they're sucking towards it, let them pull for it, scratch for it, get some strength for it, know what they want. Okay? Tease them with it to get them excited to feed off it. They know what it is. And then after a while, they know exactly what that is after a week. They can't wait to feed. So then you're doing all these things. They're walking on the soft bedding. They're pushing in, walking around, they're working all the limbs up. The reason being, if they're advanced dogs, okay, When it gets to 6 weeks, this is puppy picking time. Everyone wants to pick their pups. I want to know what I'm picking myself. So I want to see some structure, some muscle tone, some definition, some strength. I want to see dogs stacking there. So I've got videos of mine in the past now in the garden, in the yard, whatever, in the bedroom, in the welcome box, wherever they're going to be. And I say to people, pick one, you know, they're like, wow, you can see the structure, the promise, whatever it is that they're really starting to fine tune and look into the future of what they want. Some people might not want the wider chest, but more the toned body.
Okay.
But hopefully, when everyone buys a dog from me at 8 weeks old, they are structured straight, they are fully whelped, they're weaned off mum, they're on a raw diet. If you want me to feed try, I will. They're all done. They're all toilet trained too. There's a way to be toilet trained. Everything's done properly. You're getting a dog that is done. It doesn't bite you. We try our best to stop that crazy puppy play, although some buggers will be buggers, won't they? But we try to reduce it, to introduce mum all the time to the area. She tells them off and bites them back and tells them what play and what isn't play. And we do all that. So then you'll see, you've got to remember when you're picking your puppy, why did you breed the two dogs together? It will not always be consistent. So which one really stands out to you and you think, right? So what are we looking for? We're looking for a clean bite. We're looking for a big head structure, wide chest, straight feet, good angulation, rear angulation, straight, nice top line bump. Because after 8 weeks, they start going up and down at the back end all over the place. It's a good 6 to 8 weeks is a great time to pick, really.
All right, that sounds very interesting. Lots I've learned from that. I didn't even think of it. So, yeah, good bit of information there. And going forward as well with so are you going to be keeping one or two back of your breed?
Yeah, you know what? I've got a vision of what I want in the male from Ghost and G. I'd like to see another male in my program. I think Game's a lovely dog. I'd like to see one like him.
Okay.
I feel that she's got better inside her in a way, and maybe I could tap in the face for a little bit like the brothers were. Game's a little bit wrinkly from my opinion. Can I do it? I don't know. I only know, but I've got a very, very specific idea what to look like. If he doesn't, I don't feel he's fitting it. He's not going to come to the program. He'll be sold. Females, yes. I want male girls. No, I've got enough. I've got my pick of picks. So I'd like a solid girl out of this. Maybe a tri-carrier. I'm not bothered. I don't care if it's blue. I don't care if it's fawn. I don't care if it's lilac. I don't care what it is.
Do they not carry male if the dad is male? Like if you have a litter, do they not carry a male gene?
No, a dog. When you genetically test a dog, regardless of the parent, as long as one parent was male, we're not breeding male to male, and one parent wasn't, it's the same as a tri-carrier to a solid. They'll either be male or they won't. It's that simple. Now, listen to what I'm saying. You can't find this information anywhere on the internet, but it's just what I've been surmising in my own head the last few weeks. There's a lot of talk on the internet about cryptic merle, okay?
Okay. What is that?
We've got cryptic merle, which I've shown is nothing to do with cryptic merle, what we see. Cryptic merle is already in the dog, you can't see it. Don't worry about that. It's a different thing altogether. It's a totally different gene. But cryptic merle in the bully game is when we say we can't see it very well on the coat. Sometimes not at all, okay? But generally, you can't see it very well. You will see it's a puppy and it can fade out.
Okay.
But we generally only see it on a couple of colours. You'll see it on sable yellow, which is like fawn, or you'll see it on a lilac coat, more interesting. Right. Why do we see it on a lilac coat? Generally, merle's a bit of a dilute. It dilutes the coat, and lilacs are dilute anyway.
Okay.
But what are they carrying as a base coat? Fawn. Usually the merle carries fawn, and you're seeing the fawn coat underneath.
Okay.
So you're not seeing it at all, the merle pattern on the coat. So generally, sometimes people say, I've got a lilac cryptic merle. It's because the dog carries fawn. That's generally what it boils down to. Okay. So understand might need to test. If you have got a female, she is lilac. Like me now, G unit is lilac, doesn't carry fawn, but Ghost does, he's fawn. So last time we had a litter, we had a lilac merle Ghost tri that carries fawn. You can see that's why it's a bit cryptic in the colour, but you can see it and you still can. But sometimes you can't. You've got to be careful because you've got to breed that to a merle. You can double merles. Double merles are no fucking gremlin Frankenstein weird shit that's going to pop out of the fuck. It's not going to happen like that. You're going to get auditory or visual implications, mainly auditory. The dog's going to be deaf on a double merle litter. And only 25% of the litter is double merle. is there any benefits in breeding double male to male if there wasn't any problems? Well, no, because you're still going to get the same outcome. You still get the solid coat as well as you get the male coats. You don't get a full litter of male coats.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's pointless doing it anyway. You know, it's not like you're going to make loads of money from it. And then you, with so much dilution going into the coats, you're doing alopecia and things like that. You're breeding a lilac male try to a lilac male try, all this extra dilutes going in there. You're going to get issues with coats, dermatitis in the skin. That's just stuff you stay away from anyway in bully breeding, even if it's blue to blue or lilac to lilac or champagne to champagne. So you got to look into those things anyway. But you just don't breed male to male for those auditory and visual implications. You just don't do it.
Okay, so if you've got a female, just say bought female off you and the dad's male, would you recommend that you get a test done to see if she
Yeah,
carries well?
test them. I mean, I always say
If she's a solid colour, that is, obviously.
I've never seen a black male. I've never seen a chocolate male. I've never
Yeah.
seen a blue male cryptic in my life.
Okay.
I've never seen one where someone's just shown me a solid blue coat and go, oh, guess what, my dog's male. I've never seen that yet. That's never been apparent to me. It's always on a full yellow or maybe lilac coat, but usually the dog carries spawn. You can see through it, the fawn shining through the coat. If I got Spectre out now, she is a blue male and she carries chocolate, okay?
Okay.
From mum, now, or dad. But she carries it mainly from mum because mum's 2 copies. So,
Right.
if I actually show you patches on her coat, it's chocolate. She's got clear chocolate patches on the coat. A normal blue dog that carries chocolate will never show that. You'll see tiny hairs or a darker shade of blue. So, and if they carry fawn, it's a bit lighter. You see it on the brindle marks.
Okay.
But, so it does shine through. So you have to be careful about what we're doing. Now, listen, if you're going to go and spend 5 to 20, 30 grand on a dog, what's the big deal about paying £40 for a test?
Yeah, yeah.
You know? And if you know what, if the mill was the goal and you bought a solid that turns out to be a mill, you're doing well because you're doing a lot dearer anyway, wouldn't it? So maybe the owner should have tested it. Ownership, can you test a blood test on a puppy? Unfortunately, no, unless you're doing a dew claw or taking blood, which I would never do. You'd have to do a mouth swab, which we can't do until like 12 weeks of age because sometimes they're inconclusive. People have shown me mouth swabs that took off five-week-old dogs and it's saying chocolate inconclusive, KB inconclusive, male no. It might tell you certain ones, but not all of them.
Okay. So you're saying that if you've got a solid dog, he could carry male in him, and if you was to breed it, there's a chance that you could get a male pup out of it, or more than one.
If you've got a male dog, or if you've got a solid dog that comes from a male and it is male, just cryptic, yeah, you'll have half a litre of them bred to a solid.
Okay.
But you know, I would only test if the dog was lilac or fawn, or white, pied white. You'd not know, would you? You'd have to look for the patches, and there's not the patches. So there's levels to it. There's a massive thing going around at the moment. Everyone's saying don't breed male to a pied. Why? I don't know why that is. I've not seen anything bad at the moment. Now, a lot of pied dogs.
What is pied?
What? Pied means white.
Okay.
So when a dog carries 2 copies of S locus, it becomes white. Okay? It will have patches up to about 15% of its body.
Sure.
Sometimes up to 30% of different coat. It's original base coat colour. You'll see a little patch on its there, and its leg on its side, and you'll look on that patch and it'll be blue or it'll be black or whatever that colour would be, and you might see some patches on it. I say it's male. Test them all. So you've got to be careful with that. You really have to be careful. I say to everyone who's doing those sort of breedings, but is it bad on the eyes? Is it bad on the hearing? There are raised elements. There's going to be. But is it that bad? I've not seen it yet. The original breeding that made KMX Lilo's lair, half those dogs were pied male. But why were they pied male? Does anyone know? Because we bred 2 solids together because they both carried S locus. So when kennels are saying, don't breed pied to male, you're kind of doing it anyway because your dogs are carried S locus and you're getting 25% of your litter is a pied male because you bred 2 dogs with S locus together anyway. So if you really want to be careful, it's safer in a way to breed a dog that's male, that doesn't carry, or a solid, that doesn't carry S locus at all, to a fully pied dog. Because, you know, every pup in the litter will have 1 copy, which is what we call party coat. A party
Okay.
coat is either fully suited or a bit of white on it, where you see more on the neck and the head or down the arms than you would actually see on the body. Unless the S coat is Irish spotting. Irish spotting is untestable, I'm afraid, but some dogs do have it, and it means that 15 to about 80% of the body could be white, but we don't
Okay.
see it much in bullies. I've not seen it much in bullies so far.
Okay, that's great stuff. What else? As you wanted to talk, what other topics?
Well, I've covered what I did on the line breeding today. Like I said, the
Yeah.
pasture training was a little bit different, you know, and I just want people to be careful. You know,
What is line breeding? Breeding, if
What's
you don't
that?
mind me asking? What is line breeding?
Line breeding is relations, okay? Now, we
Okay.
call it a bloodline because people know what it is. It's got a
Okay,
look.
bloodline. Yeah.
So we breed the relations to we create the look first. If you're clever, you'll do the look first from type breeding. So
Sure.
type breeding means this dog and this dog are not related whatsoever,
Okay.
but damn, they could be brothers, couldn't they? And it's a great way to start your gene pool because they're not related.
Yeah.
You've opened the gene pool, you bred them together, this female and this male that look alike, the ancestors look alike because the breed isn't like it is. In the Staffordshire will tell you world, the pit bull will tell you they all look pretty much the same, unless your pit bull was more coming from the Amstaff line with the boxier head. But the Staffies are all pretty much similar, but not in this breed. It's so difficult to do.
Yeah.
So as you go in, then you start doing some cousin breedings, or you might. I would never just go in there and do dad's daughter unless there was something special about the dad.
Okay.
You know, let's just say, I never do it anyway, but let's just say you were going to line breed a dog, okay?
Yeah.
A dog. So you've had a litter you've had a litter now, okay? Let's just say Wonka,
Mhm.
one of the best one of the best tri producers in the world, right?
Right.
Wonka's an amazing example of a dog. So you want to line breed him so everyone gets a dog that's similar to him. You don't want him to die like that. You want people to buy into this. So
Okay.
if I owned Wonka, this is what I would do. I would then breed into multiple females in my camp, okay? Those dogs would be outcross to widen the gene pool.
Sure.
And then I would get 2 offspring that look just like him, because you won't get it all the time.
Yeah.
You might get sometimes where he's really put it in, and you'll get a boy and a girl, and they are the spit of him. And they're the same, similar height, similar structure. They took 85, 90% of dad's looks, and you're like, wow. And then you breed them together to harness the look. In half sister breeding, you'll get a full line of quality looking dogs, and they'll all put that look in because it's a dominant feature. And then you've got a line of these dogs, and then you'll outcross them again from the type that have took the look again back in distant cousins, and you'll create a look of these dogs. And then all of a sudden, it'll be called Wonka line, like we have Magoo line or Dax line, and that's what we'll do.
Okay.
Dotty line, you know, when you get a special dog, it's great to do it, but it takes a long time to do. A lot of risks, but with a lot of risk come a lot of rewards.
Very true.
And generally, you've got to own the dog. You know, you've really got to own that dog to line breed it. You can try and do it from an outside perspective by buying in, but you'd never really get it. So it's a tough thing to do. It's a hard thing to do, but it's you know, it's worth it. So normal line breeding will be a similar approach. You know, we just go and get the type dogs with consistency, the type that you like, that your kennel really loves. What are you about? What drew you to American Bully? You must have seen a picture somewhere that drove you in and made you fall in love, or maybe got your attention to pull you to another picture that made you think, wow, I love these dogs. And that dog there could be your kennel's ethos, and you want to go for it. I've done that with my looks. You know, I changed. 2 years ago, I was a bit different. Now I'm like, no, I really want to do these bigger, taller, structured dogs. So I've gone for that. So yeah, there's many factors.
Okay.
But it's doable. But I think it's great going forward in the future. Let's just say you go to a seaside resort and there's 100 pubs, but there's only one certain pub, and you want to talk about that one. And it's the same in this game. If there's 1,000 kennels and they're all breeding the same stuff, but you're doing your line breeding, yeah, you won't make as much money. Of course, you're not going to do it. You're going to lose. You're going to do it. I struggled to sell Ghost and G's first pups. I'm not going to lie about it. People wanted them and they pulled out because they were like, I don't know what I'm buying, I don't know what I'm doing. people have seen where I went with it. They can see what I've done with it. And this time, the phone's non-stop saying, yeah, I can see what you're doing now. And I'd like to buy into that a little bit. I could do some of that in my yard or whatever. And I'm humbled by that. Thank you so much. So there's a reason to what we do. It's like you can be happy just using someone else's blood, or you can kind of go for it and just kind of just, you know, as long as health is at the front and structure, you can't go far wrong, but you might take a pay cut to get there.
Okay. Well, what do you think of that question at the bottom that's pinned?
What's that?
The question that's been pinned at the bottom. Do you think we should bring in names for different styles?
Well, this is it, isn't it?
Good idea.
Do you know what? It's a strange question. Like I said, a few years ago, like when someone mentioned ICK bloodline, I just thought of a look, and they have got a look. They do look the same, but they're not the same in height and size. Yeah. RBG has gone a bit different over the years to what it was. So there's many variables to that. There really is. It's a strange one. I think the hardcore bully fans would be going crazy if you did it. If you said this is my line, this is a type, just one type of bully. But think about this. Understand this. The ABKC was formed in 2004.
Okay.
The origins of most of XLs is one Gotti, who was born in 1997 from Raider 2.
Yeah.
So it was around before then. They just used those lines, those old buddy school dogs. If you went in line, one Gotti could walk into any fucking show and win it right now. And I think he was about classic standard, maybe a little bit taller, might just be cracking XL. But he was amazingly structured, wide chest, essence of a bully in the XL form. So, and he was 7 years before the ABKC style as we see it. But the ABKC didn't bully in these taller categories because of it. So they've always been around. These dogs have always been around. So yeah, you know, maybe it's strange. It's a weird concept because they were around before the ABKC in the XL form, not in the Razor's Edge form. He's done something special now. He really has.
Yeah,
that's special. But in the taller forms, they've always been around.
Okay. There's a question there. What do you think on KMX Lilo?
KMX Lilo was a crossbred
Lilo,
dog.
yeah, that's it.
That's why I did a wisdom panel check. I needed to know what was in the dog. I'm not going to be blind to it. I was shown the picture of her 3 years ago, and someone said to me, "I'm going to show you something now. Keep it to yourself." And when I'm okay to myself, I'll just show everyone what she is. 1 second, 1 second.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ghost is barking.
Yeah.
Ghost is in a mood because he only got 15 minutes in the hot weather today. So he's not happy about it. He's gone mad. He's in the kitchen crying. So yeah, you've got to look at what she is. So people go crazy and start screaming hunt papers. She is, in essence, a bulldog, an old bulldog, old English bulldog, short British type that we see, I'd say, bred to an Amstaff. Okay?
Okay.
Bulldog's always been the breed anyway. We see it everywhere else.
Yeah, very true.
It's not there. Look at the micros, you know, look at all that. It's French bulldog or whatever. It's in there. Do we need those bulldog traits? Of course we do. You're not going to get the thickness and the style in the XL or the thickness in any other category just from breeding a Staffy to an Amstaff. Okay. You know, so it's part of the breed. You know, there's a lot of hunt papers in the game. It's not where it was, it's where we go from it. Am I trying to wash KMX Lilo out of my pads? Not at first, I wasn't until I realised it was on the split side too. On the other side, it was Bulldog too, and I'm like, shit, I can't breed to that anymore. I've got to pull in what we call the Amstaff lines, the original lines, some more towards where they come from. So if someone shows me a massive, big, great Bulldog-looking dog and says, you want to breed it to game and I put back, I go, no, not really, because you're going to bring some traits through. I need the tighter featured muscular dogs to iron it out a little bit as I'm going along. So if you look at Ghost's mum, who's Chica, she goes back to the original school lines, the ICK styles, and that style of dogs, you know, GRBZ and things like that come off ICK. If we look at then, the product of that, we go into Ghost looks like a nice bully. It doesn't look really bulldog. And then we're going to go again. I hit it again. I thought, no, I don't want to get any traits. Let's use G unit. who's then Amstaff again, going right back to those lines of no bulldog as up front in the first few gen anyway. In the
Okay.
first 5 gen, you don't see it. So we're going to iron the traits out even further. Do I think it's been diluted enough to go back into those lines? No, because those lines are hundreds of years old. You've
Okay.
got to think about what you're doing. And people always say in this game, like, what's he going on about, you know, just go and breed them. And then you're the people that message me and say, you know, my letter's fault, so I've done this, I've done that, and I didn't think it was going to work out like that. And if you're going to keep back from it, you know, to forge your line forward. I say this all the time, we can add colour whenever you want, but it's hard to correct faults in
Yeah.
structure and health and things like that. So you have to think about what you're doing. You start breeding too many. When try first come in, everyone's just breeding try to try. I don't quite know the origins of try. I'm not sure. I don't believe it's an Amstaff or any sort of pit bull at the moment from what we're seeing. Longer in the body, short in the face and all that. So what I'm going to say is, if you keep on breeding that style to each other, you're going to get that style, aren't you? You're going to keep pushing that way back to it. And so really, people with tries a few years ago when they were a little bit shorter, thinner and longer in the body, you should say to yourself, well, let's get some shorter bodied solids of old school pedigree to breed to them. But
Okay.
you're going to lose money doing it. You're only going to make try carriers, you're not going to make any tries, you don't want to do it, you want the money on the spot. I think about that next breed and maybe do it then. It doesn't work out. If they've done it, they'll look back now and kick themselves thinking, do you know, when there wasn't much money in these dogs a few years ago, we should have done that then. And maybe I'll have some bigger studs in the programme now or something that had my name to it. That's something that really pushed my kennel forward and said, that's what I'm about.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? It's a hard thing in this game because people think it's going to burst, it's going to end tomorrow. It's not going to end tomorrow. These dogs are always going to be around, but are you going to be here tomorrow? You know, are you going to stay in the game?
Yeah.
Are you going to keep on doing it? Are you going to sit through the lulls, sit through the no money, sit through my bitch ain't took, sit through my studs not getting stood out? You know, if you've got a dog and it's got Kennel's name attached to it, and that kennel's not doing too well, where's that leave you? Or that line's not popular anymore. I'm not going to mention kennels, like I'm
Yeah.
slagging kennels off, right? But let's just say there's the biggest kennel in the world, or this big kennel,
Yeah.
and they put out a stud. And we all run to the stud to use the stud, and we get the offspring. And by the time your dog gets to 18 months old and she's ready for her litter, yeah,
Yeah.
they've released another stud, haven't they? It's
Okay.
like a BMW, isn't it? So you know you can do two things. You can use those dogs to create better in your own look, not better, but in your own look, or you can just chase them all your life and make money. Yes, but it only lasts for so long, you know.
Yeah.
I like everyone to just encourage to go out and just do your own thing, make nice healthy dogs. But I'll help you either way. Whether your dogs are from a certain line or they're not, I will always help you.
Okay. Well, that's great to know. Anything else you want to be touching on?
Any questions, or do you want to call that a day?
I'm happy, man. If there's anything else you want to touch on, then feel free.
It's what everyone to understand that, you know, it is a tough game. It's getting tougher. It's not a popular breed in the UK. It really isn't.
Yeah.
You can walk around all day in your own town. You might not see one of these dogs. They're not everywhere. They're not Staffies or Labradors or German Shepherds. People asking about them, and they take a lot of looking after, a lot of time, a lot of feeding. And with the BSL regulations, there's no insurance out there from what I can see.
Yeah.
Someone quoted me the other day 130 quid a month. And I was just like, well, it'd be cheaper not to insure them, wouldn't it? So it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I like people to think about the bigger picture, the longer picture, the health of the dogs, and where we're going with it. Do you know what I mean? And the future, and to see yourself here in 10 years' time, and the welfare of the dogs, and you know that side of it really.
What's the best method for bulking heads, in your opinion?
Bulking the head. Well, it's the genetics is the head split, but if the dog's not eating calcium, how's the head going to split properly?
Yeah.
So
So
you've got to get the diet right, and I always say 80-10-10 is not enough. I pay 80, sorry, you're about 75, 10, 15 calcium / bone. At those, especially at those peak times as well, make sure the diet's great, there's a lot of nutrition. So when your dog's head's going to crack between 12 and 18 months, make sure the diet's right. And it's got the calcium he needs for that head to grow, potentially. If it's not there, it's not going to happen, is it? You know, and you can see this in human beings. If the kid's malnutrition as a child, he's never going to get there, you know, to grow as they're older. That's why we have to feed our kids with vitamin D these days. You have to give them milk and calcium. They've got to be in the diet. The kid ain't gonna, you're gonna get bone issues.
Okay. Well, I guess we can call it a day and see to your boy, man. It's been a pleasure with you as always, Howard.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
look
it.
forward to.
Obviously, if G pops now and litters, I'm gonna have a few weeks off. You have to to talk. I've got a lot to do. But thank you very much for having me.
Oh, you've been amazing, man.
I'll be on the whelping for a few weeks, so who knows? Maybe I'll show you some whelping, show you some puppies in a few weeks.
Hopefully, hopefully we'd appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us. We always appreciate your knowledge,
man. Take it easy. Have a good weekend, yeah.
Yeah, look after yourself. Take care.
See
you guys. Thanks everyone for watching as well. Really appreciate it.
Cheers.
Take care. Bye.